Thank you, Minister. Senator Payman.
Thank you, President. My question is to the Minister representing the Minister for Immigration, Senator Watt. Over the weekend, I visited a group of Sri Lankan Tamil refugees protesting in the electorate of Tangni, grieving the death by suicide of 23-year-old Mano Yogalingam and calling an end to mandatory offshore detention. The recent reports by the Asylum Seeker Resource Centre reveal the suffering of refugees held in offshore detention, subjected to uncertainty, medical neglect and trauma. On page 141 of the 2023 Australian Labor Party platform, there is a mandate to reintroduce the 90-day rule in the Migration Act. Independent MP Kalia Tink has introduced a refreshed private members' bill calling a 90-day time limit on detention for people seeking asylum. Minister, will the government support Ms Tink's bill?
Thank you, Senator Payman. Minister Watt.
Thank you, President. Thank you, Senator Payman. Can I first say what an outstanding Member of Parliament Sam Lim is? The member for Tangni, and I am aware that there has been a pretty long-standing protest outside his office. The protest and the rally that Senator Payman was referring to has been occurring outside Mr Lim's office for quite some time, and I think it has been obstructing members of the public from obtaining services from that office. But I'm sure that that won't stop Mr Lim from doing the excellent job that he has been as a representative member in the electorate of Tangni. I'm also aware that many of the community members who have been at that protest are members of the Tamil community, and of course we respect their right to protest. And I know that in at least some cases their protest activity has been motivated by the recent tragic suicide of a Tamil asylum seeker, and of course it goes without saying that our thoughts are with the family and friends of that man who did take his life on the 28th of August. We have provided a visa pathway for thousands of people who were neglected by the former government. We understand that when we came to office there were several thousand people who had gone through what was known as the fast-tracking process. Their asylum claims had not been properly dealt with and in many cases were rejected, but then they weren't given any security as to their future situation. They were told they couldn't stay in Australia, but they also weren't sent back to their originating country, so they have been in limbo for more than a decade. This is one of the many challenges that we inherited from the former government in the immigration portfolio. Of course, it's now a matter of record that when Mr Dutton oversaw that portfolio as Home Affairs Minister, it was a broken system. That's been the finding of several reviews. The issues that Senator Payman is referring to are some that we're dealing with right now, and I know Mr Burke is giving it his full attention.
The time for answering has expired. Senator Payman, first supplementary.
Minister, the remaining 8,550 people failed by the fast-track process who feel left behind and forgotten are still working, paying taxes, attending school and rebuilding their lives. Will the minister grant permanent residency to all people seeking asylum failed by fast-track via a mechanism similar to the temporary protection conversion to resolution of status visas?
Thank you, Senator Payman. Minister Watt.
Thank you, President. Well, as I say, the former government did leave thousands of people in limbo for years with no resolution in sight. The numbers were given by Senator Payman, and it's of course a very large number. But since taking office a couple of years ago, our government has taken a different approach to this matter. We've provided resolution of status visas for anyone with a temporary protection visa or safe haven enterprise visa before the 14th of February 2023 and who have been found to be owed protection. This has provided a visa pathway for thousands of people neglected by the former government. Of the 6,352 people who were not found to be genuine refugees but are still lawfully in the community, only 167 are without work rights and access to Medicare. So, as I say, the Minister for Home Affairs, Minister Burke, is working through the failed fast-track cohort on a case-by-case basis. It's a large job to be done as part of fixing our broken migration system, but it's one that Minister Burke is committed to.
Senator Payman, second supplementary.
We can't keep blaming the opposition for the decade. I speak from the heart on this matter as my I speak from the heart from this matter, as my late father was in detention upon arriving in Australia and described the horrors back in 1999. Considering the documented evidence of suffering and human rights violation in offshore detention centres, will the minister finally commit to an independent investigation into these facilities and their operations?
Thank you, Senator Payman. Minister Watt.
Well, Senator Payman, I think you yourself acknowledged that there were several thousand people who had gone through the failed fast-track process, and that is a situation that we are dealing with. So I think it's entirely appropriate to point out the work that was required to deal with this issue when we came to office and that we inherited from the former government, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. I've already pointed out. Senator Shoebridge, if you want to ask a question, feel free to get up on your feet or get a question up. But this is Senator Payman's question, and maybe she's entitled to an answer to the question. So our government has taken a different approach to that of the former coalition government. As I say, we've provided resolution of status visas for anyone with a temporary protection visa or safe haven enterprise visa before the 14th of February 2023 and have been found to be owed protection. That is a very different approach to what was taken by the former government. It does remain an issue for many people in our community, and it's an issue that Minister Burke is working through.
Senator